virus. Avira, Avast, and Microsoft Security Essentials are the best free antivirus.
I've used AVG for years.
The Microsoft Security Essentials I've read are actually pretty good compared to the rest of the Microsoft product. But
yeah, within Microsoft is a big corporation. So within Microsoft, each product line, one product line can differ from the next in a huge degree. So it depends on who is running the department and how much attention they pay to that department. Yep.
Before I got Essentials, I was using Kaspersky, and that was a pretty good one, unless you had to, for some reason, restore your computer to another point in time, and then it would always say the blacklist was corrupted, and you'd have to do some work to get it up and running again.
Huh. Interesting. Windows Defender, which is by default already installed, right? Yeah. Okay, well, that's good. Now I know the pirate antivirus. But there's no way to select, there's no way to subtract the money and say, I do not want it at all. That's the problem. I typically have to spend easily half a day when I get, one of these type of PCs or when I buy one from Costco to uninstall everything that I do not want.
There is a site called PC Decrapifier that's supposed to have a list of a bunch of things, and you install the program. It's like, it might be portable, I'm not sure, but it has a list of a bunch of bloatware and other things that it can all uninstall for you at once.
Wow, that's
I
interesting.
haven't tried it yet. I found it after I got my new computer. And
That's interesting. On the other hand, I'm not quite sure that I can trust another program to do all this stuff for me.
A lot of people like it. That's all I can say.
Okay. Well, now we are moving on to other type of software that can be bundled. Basically, Dell is getting paid, to try to push these products onto their computers. So if someone ordered, Quicken Home and Business 2011 from Dell through this interface, Dell gets, some money from Quicken. So that's why they're pushing all these other software that you have to go through all of these screens and say no, 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 and no. Unless it just so happens that it is one of the programs that you want to get and the price is right. Okay, I have not checked the price of these products, so I don't know whether they're even good prices or not. Okay, phone support service. Okay, let's see. So everything is paid, I think. So you have to, single one of these is optional and you have to pay extra. So I'll go ahead and skip that. Select my guaranteed buyback plan. It's kind of like textbooks now. Planning on upgrading your system within 2 years, get up to 50% of the purchase price back as a Dell gift card, which means you can only use it to buy another Dell system. So none is fine. 50% within 2 years. I mean, that's a rip-off. I mean, because your system is not worth nearly 50% of what it is now.
Well, it says get 20% back from 18 to 24 months. So
right here.
It goes down and down.
Yeah, you only get 50% back if you return it.
Oh, that's even worse. 50%, 6 months from now. So definitely not worth the money. Any company that tries to sell me plans like this is already automatically on my blacklist. Online backup 5 gigabytes for 1 year, included in price. I won't use it anyway. I wish they could say, I can not have this service and, get like $50 back or $5 back or whatever. Just to make a statement. Plant a tree. No, I don't need that. The squirrels in my backyard is doing a fantastic job planting all sorts of trees. Yes, that's fine. Thank you. Buy a squirrel.
I have a Concord grape plant growing next to my air conditioning unit. Birds plant really good plants.
But birds cannot plant acorns. That takes a bigger animal, like squirrels. We got a lot of oak trees, in my neighborhood, and the squirrels are no doubt, the ones, planting it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They
There
will
were two
plant.
trees that used to be in my backyard. I don't know what kind they are, but they were very good at planting new trees themselves.
Oh, yeah.
We'd find the saplings shooting up all over the yard.
Yep. Yep. Some trees are really good at that. So now we have what? AT&T contract. What is that about? Get an arrow for... No, I don't think so. I have my cell phone already. Select my printer. I have my printer already. Oh boy. Yeah, so you can basically see how this process is going to take quite a bit of time.
Selling you ink for your printer.
Yep. I don't need any. Thank you. Wireless router. No. Power protection. Now that is something that you might want to consider, depending on, whether you have a good UPS or at least a surge protector for your computer. Yeah, just go to Fry's and there's a lot of selections.
I thought it was really cool, the UPS, the tower things that store energy in case of power outages, so your computer can keep running for a couple more hours.
A couple more hours?
They're like big, huge things.
Okay, if you guys want a UPS that can store a lot of energy, the big ones are very expensive. They typically run
very
more.
expensive, but still cool.
If you want something that's less expensive but still give you a lot of juice, you buy a smaller UPS. When the battery of that UPS dies, then you go in, you trade it in so you can get your money back, and then you go buy a much larger capacity, marine type of battery. Then you can extend the run time of your battery. You can use the same circuit to charge it. It would just take longer to charge it to full capacity. But when you have a power fail, a big marine battery can last a long, long time. It's kind of dangerous, because you're dealing with like cables about yay thick, because of the current that we're dealing with. Okay, so now we have storage backup. We can buy that from Costco, separately. So there's no need to buy it from here. Select my fall savings. Wow, look at all these options. No, thank you. Photoshop elements? No. Gaming? Tom Clancy's Hawks, Age of Empire 3, World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft again? No, thank you. Because for the most part, even if you don't have it, you can always buy it somewhere else. And I suspect this price may not be that competitive. Is it competitive? I mean, can anyone tell?
Yeah, the WoW price is about right.
About right?
Same price you would get at most.
And the best part is it's pre-installed. You don't get you don't get to have to install the discs yourself.
I don't think that's a bad thing.
Give me the discs, please.
Select my gaming accessories. Okay, well, since I don't game. All right, so it's going to tell me it will be built in 2 months.
2 months, but should I show?
Okay, where's the price?
Up there.
Okay, $1,000. But that's after $409 of savings.
Oh my god.
You're actually, yeah.
Build your own.
Okay, so we'll keep this screen up and running, and then meanwhile we'll go to newegg.com. Okay. Now the point of going to newegg.com is not just to show you how much it will cost to make your own PC or to build your own PC, but also to show you the process. What components are related to what other components, and how do you select it? How do you make sure the components you have selected are all compatible with each other? And also make sure that the components, that you don't select one component that is really way powerful, and then you select the next component which is really weak, so the combined performance is really weak. So we'll go ahead and get started here. What should I look for first when you're configuring and making your own PC? Well, the first thing you have to decide is your processor choice, okay, or at least the family of processors that you want to use. Okay, so let me just write it down on Moodle or separately as notes, because this will be useful. This is getting into the stuff that we want to talk about in this class. go ahead and come on. Good. Come on. Any day now. What resolution am I running? This is like insanely low resolution. No, it's not that low. It's 1024 by 768. It's just that, everything looks too big to me.
Have you tried like the control minus?
Yeah. I must have it increased for some reason that I cannot remember. All right, the first thing we want to do is to select a processor family. Well, what do you want to do with the system? That's the first question.
Gaming.
If we want it, well, we want something comparable to the other one, okay? Which means, I should be selecting at least, something that's comparable to a Intel i5 650 type of processor. So when you select a processor like that, you can go to computer hardware. Newegg.com is only one of the many places where you can buy components to build your own system. Tiger Direct is the other really popular one. Their pricing are usually about comparable. Sometimes Tiger Direct will have a better price on one product, and Newegg will have a better price on the next one. The one thing I like about Newegg.com is it is in California. So even if you select UPS ground shipping, it will get to your house in like 2 days. That's the one part I really like is, it's fast shipping without having to pay a lot of money. Where's Tiger Direct? Is it in California or somewhere else?
Not sure.
I don't think it's in California, but it's not too far from.
It's not too far? Okay. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is to go to processors. Let's see, where is CPU? Okay. And by the way, what is CPU? It's central processing unit. It's central processing unit, which is no longer really applicable anymore because we don't have a central processor anymore. If you look at the configuration of a computer, your graphics cards sometimes have more processing power than the quote-unquote CPU. And in the good old days, CPU makes sense because the CPU itself is like a small refrigerator-sized item in a big room that is called a single computer. But these days, it's just a chip. Okay, so when you get here, you can see that they classify the processors into three main categories. You have desktop, mobile, and servers. Since we're building a box, we will go for desktops, which has the most choices. Okay, if you go for the other two, you don't have as many choices. And once we get here, we can select by many different things. We can select by price. There is one processor from 10 to 20 bucks, 25 bucks. I'm just kind of curious what that is. Okay. Let's go check it out. Because I'm just curious, what is less than 25 bucks? It's an AMD Sempron, $24.99. Well, talk about cheap. That's pretty cheap. Single core, and yet it consumes 45 watts. Yeah, that's not very power efficient. I mean, now we have quad-core processors that will only consume 90 watts at the maximum. So that's not a very good choice. So since we want a system that compares to the other one that we have seen, so we want a LGA 1156, which is a fairly big family of processors. This is basically describing how many pins